Good evening. I call this special board meeting to order. It is May 7th, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Geisels will lead us. Okay, we're going to start with roll call, please.
Good evening, Namarcha Graywall, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
Good evening, Ed DiLazzo, Deputy Superintendent.
Justin Brown, Trustee, Area 5.
Mary Jo Carrion, Trustee, Area 1.
Charlie Jones, Trustee, Area 4.
Lori Walker, serving as Vice President this year.
Trustee Kelly McCaughey serving as President this year.
Maurice Geisel, Superintendent, welcome. Thank you for coming, and thank you for joining us online.
And Lenita Villaseñor, Executive Assistant to Dr. Geisels and the Board of Trustees.
Okay, so next on the agenda is a report out of closed session actions as well as open session action on closed session items. We have nothing to report. So moving along, I am seeking an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Trustee Jones, seconded by Trustee Walker. And just to mention, Trustee Gerstich, our student board rep, is not in attendance today. Roll call vote, Trustee Brown.
Aye.
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 And aye. Motion passes unanimously. So, I just wanted to make a statement. This is a special board meeting, so we will not be having public comment on anything that is not currently on the agenda. This will follow the standard board meeting where we have action and discussion items, where the item will be presented by staff. The information will be presented and turned back to our trustees who may have questions. Then we will open that particular agenda item for public comment, in which you, anyone here in the audience, if you come up for public comment on that item, you will have 3 minutes. As per the Brown Act, the trustees typically do not respond specifically to individual comments. However, at times there may be action taken in regards to follow-up from staff, and the 3-minute is the maximum time allotted. So with that being stated, then the public comment will be closed and it will come back to the board for any additional comments. And then if there is a vote, there will be a vote taken and then move on to the next agenda item and the cycle will repeat. So with that stated, we're going to go to the next part of the agenda, which is the report, discussion, and discussion action. The first item is discussion A, which is a discussion and action item for resolution 2025-2026.43 to dismiss certain certificated staff due to layoff. And we're going to pass it off to Namarcha Graywall.
Thank you, President McCaughey. And I may, depending on the questions, ask for an assist from our director, Ms. Stone. So this is resolution number 2025-2026.43 to dismiss certain certificated staff due to layoff. As required by Ed Code and statute, the Board of Trustees previously adopted resolutions 2526.19 and 2526.33 to reduce or eliminate particular kinds of services due to budget constraints. Preliminary layoff notices were thus issued to employees as indicated in Exhibit A attached to this board item. The impacted staff were notified in one-on-one meetings accompanied by labor union representatives about the layoff at the end of the 25-26 potential layoff, excuse me, because those were preliminary notices in March, but about the layoff for this year, and they were afforded the right to request a hearing regarding their proposed layoff. A number of layoff notices that were then able to be rescinded in the certificated unit due to the release of temporary staff, which created vacancies for permanent staff to fill, attrition due to retirements and resignations, over-noticing of certificated employees in anticipation of some negotiable reductions that were still ongoing, and some additional grant funding that came in not too long ago. So after the rescission notices were issued, and the rescissions are listed in Exhibit B for this item, the remaining employees listed in Exhibit C will receive a final layoff notice. Those employees will have their services reduced or eliminated at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year. This is a final layoff notice per Ed Code 44955, and the notices have to be delivered before May 15th, which is next week. And so we are seeking board approval, recommendation that the board approve this particular resolution so that we can meet the statutory deadline. I do want to point out that as additional funding or information comes in that may change the fiscal or financial condition of the district, even the final layoff notices could potentially be rescinded. So I wanted to just lay that out there. With that, we'll take questions.
Okay, trustees, questions? Trustee Carrion? Oh, Trustee Walker, then Trustee Carrion.
Okay, I just want to, for the high school counselors, there's 2.6 that were on the prelim layoff notice, and then if I'm reading this right, we're rescinding 2.6, correct?
We are rescinding 2.6 because there were temporary counselors that were released. So the people that received a layoff notice at the time were able to be rescinded. And one thing I do want to clarify is Exhibit A represents the March 15th preliminary layoff list, which is the services that are being reduced. It's not about the person in that position, it's about that position. This requirement, the May 15th requirement, the final notice, is about employees. So though your service may have been eliminated, if you hold another credential, for example, and there's an opening, you as an employee, you may still have employment with the district. The original position is gone, but you found employment elsewhere. And so in this case, there was an opportunity for those two counselors to have their positions rescinded, their layoffs rescinded.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Trustee Brown. I'm sorry. Sorry.
So just to summarize, per prior board action, 44.693 FTE in the certificated space, those positions were eliminated. However, 39.693 were, through bumping and positioning criteria, were able to, and the net is the 5, which is Exhibit C, correct?
Correct.
So at the end of the day, due to retirements and elimination of temporary workers, the net is 5.
5 permanent staff members are receiving a final layoff notice. There's also the over-noticing that occurred because we were in negotiations and we were also considering reductions on another list, and so staff had to be over-noticed. So as those were rescinded, that also restored people to their positions.
Okay.
Hence the low number, the 5.
All right. And how much of the original 44.693 it was over-noticing?
That was approximately 20 FTE.
Okay, thank you. I
I'm
don't
sorry,
know.
could you repeat that question? 20 what?
The comment was made of the original Exhibit A list of 44.693. Some of that was over-noticing during the negotiation period, and the net result was about 20 of the 44 was due to over-noticing, and that 20 is included within the 39, and so the net of the 44 and the 39 is the 5 that are named positions that will receive a notice by the end of next week.
I understood the original question. I was asking what he had asked about the 20. I just didn't hear the last question.
Sorry. The number of certificated employees that were rescinded because the negotiations didn't occur with respect to that group is 20.
I just wanted to make sure everyone heard that, so it was 20.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all. I just wanted you to repeat that statement. So, all right, thank you. Other questions, Trustee Brown? Trustee Carrion?
Now, just to follow up, so then how many temporary teachers are not coming back and how many retire? They all fit in there.
The release of temporary staff was about 50 staff altogether. Depending on additional vacancies, attrition, et cetera, some may return, but it's less likely this year due to the reduction. The retirements and resignations in total were about 25 or 26, I think, as of this morning. It changes all the time.
And as, in regards to science or PE, they all were able to fill?
Are you speaking of elementary science and PE? Elementary science and PE specialists who held another credential, like a multiple subject credential, those individual employees, while their science or PE position may be cut, were able to be slotted into another job. So if they hold another credential and they could be moved into a multiple subject, or if they're a single subject science and there's a secondary science, like a middle school science position, they might have been reassigned there. So net, most people were able to be placed. Yeah.
Trustee Karen, it was 9. You look at the table. Yes, Trustee Jones? Trustee Walker? Okay, I think all the fellow trustees asked my questions as well, but just to reiterate that a big percentage of positions were able to be rescinded because of either retirements, reassignment for certain staff, as exemplified and mentioned, or temporary positions, for example, correct?
That's correct, and the over-noticing due to negotiable item reductions.
Okay,
that's a big
thank
chunk.
you. All right, so with that, if we don't have any other questions, we will move this item to public comment. If there's anyone that would like to come to discuss anything on this agenda item, please feel free to come up to the podium. If you've not had time to fill out a comment card, you can make your statements and then fill out a comment card afterward. Do we have anyone for public comment? Okay. Then we'll close public comments for this item. We'll come back for comments. Trustee Jones.
This is regrettable would be, and this is regrettable and also disappointing that we are here, especially because it is the week of the teacher, which as a teacher does not make this any easier, and it does not make this This is regretful. My thing is that we are still in bargaining with APT. We're still working with PPIE to see where they want to put in their funding. And last I saw, they've raised about $780,000, and they're still going. So that's a good sign. And hopefully through that, we're able to continue rescinding what we see for both APT and CSCA.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Trustee Brown?
So one of the things that's been brought to my attention is our temporary workers, although they have the title temporary, feel just as much an employee of this district as those that are FTE. So it's not lost on me that yes, at the end of this process, we've got 5 people that remain in positions that will be eliminated. Those are FTEs, but the impact goes beyond that, and it includes a lot of the workers that fill our vacancies, and those are people too with lives and families and so on. So I just wanted to reiterate that I do recognize that we're impacting 5 FTE, but we're also impacting a larger group of people, and wanted to recognize them.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. I just want to also say, just for people that are watching in the context, temporary has all kinds of meanings to all kinds of people, and it's very specific in the Education Code. Namara, could you just briefly just describe what are the requirements to be a temporary teacher and why we have temporary teachers?
Well, in the first year of hire for a certificated staff member, they're usually hired on as temporary. Some people could be hired on as probationary in their first year, but generally speaking, it's temporary. The temporary positions are that designation is used to offset, for example, if employees are on leave or if a position is actually funded by one-time funding, you can't guarantee that the funding will be there the following year. You hire them on a temporary contract, so they know what they're getting into in case the position doesn't continue. But generally, you're balancing leaves. Leaves also includes people that, people might be out on a year-long personal leave, a medical leave, but it also includes people who do job shares, for example, at the elementary, because each person has taken a partial leave from their position. And so when you hire someone temporary, it's because that original employee is owed a full position at some point, and you need to release the temporary employee to ensure that that full-time permanent employee has a position to come back to. So that's, and at the end of each year, temporary employees, it's per ed code, are released, and those that can be rehired because funding continued or, there's other attrition or other things, are rehired where possible. I did just want to point out that the 5 employees on Exhibit C that you see that we're referencing, 2 of those are management employees. So 3 certificated staff members, non-management, is the impact of the RIF.
Thank you for that clarification. That's appreciated.
Trustee Karen?
No, I just want to say that I'm very sad. This is very sad because there's counselors and there's a lot of everyone's important on this job, and I value everybody, and I just feel very, very sad.
Thank you, Trustee Carrion. I'd like to ask one more question, Namarta Grewal, in regards to the 39-month probationary law. Can you refresh memory on that? So that is a potential possibility, correct, for the 5 particular positions that are being, or the individuals that are giving these layoff notice. Could you just recap that again?
Sure.
And remind for the public who may be watching.
I think I'll look to Tony if I mess this up. For permanent staff members who receive a final layoff notice, they are placed on the 39-month rehire list. If they're probationary staff members who received a layoff, they would be placed on the 24-month rehire list.
Okay, I asked the question
certificated.
incorrectly. I was referring to the 39-month, but thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
There is an option for the probation for 24 months.
Correct.
Okay, and then does that also apply for the 2 management positions that you mentioned, or is that same, or how is that different because it's management positions and not certificated?
If those management positions are restored, they potentially could, but management positions as in general are not owed management employees who are laid off are not owed management positions
Because they're at will?
They're at will, and if they have seniority in the certificated group, they would have rights to a certificated position, in which case they would be added to the 39-month rehire list if they're permanent, to be brought back in a position that matches their credential. And one of the things that we are seeing is due to the elementary PE specialist reduction and due to the very limited attrition that happens among PE teachers, that's where a number of the final layoff notices, that's where they impacted, is the particular kind of service that was impacted is PE. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? I just want to say one more thing, that I echo the sentiment of the fellow trustees. This is really difficult, and many of us have been educators or currently teaching or been in the education field, and have had this experience happen, and it does not make it any easier. But what I would say that it makes a stronger point in terms of the requirements and the expectations of us as trustees and due diligence, and looking back on some past decisions that we as the board also need to take accountability and ownership and due diligence so that we're not faced with this challenge again, but more importantly, that these positions matter, and I am very hopeful, as Trustee Jones already stated, with partnership with PPIE and other funding options, that we can help restore these positions. So, thank you. Okay, with that, we're looking for a motion and a second.
I I regret having to do this, but I will go ahead and recommend that we approve Resolution 2025-2026.43 as presented to take necessary actions in accordance with the resolution and provide final layoff notices to the certificated employees who are subject to layoff and to eliminate the positions identified in Resolution 2526.19 and 2025-2026.33 at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year.
Second.
Okay, motion by Brown, seconded by Jones. This is a resolution, so we will be doing a roll call vote.
Aye.
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 And aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, section B. This is a similar resolution, but for classified. Discussion/action resolution number 2025-2026.44 to dismiss certain classified staff due to layoff and to rescind certain preliminary notices of layoff. Pass it back to Namarta Grable.
Thank you, President McCaughey. Okay, the Board of Trustees previously adopted resolutions 2025-2026.22 and 2025-26.34 to reduce or eliminate particular kinds of classified services due to lack of work or lack of funds. Preliminary layoff notices were issued to employees as listed in Exhibit A, so those were the March 15th notices, which include some management and non-management. Impacted staff were notified at that time, before March 15th, that they would be laid off at the end of the 25-26 school year, preliminarily notified, and afforded the right to request a hearing regarding their proposed layoff. Similar to the comment I made earlier, those were initial layoffs, and the final notice is provided by this resolution. So a number of layoff notices actually were able to be rescinded due to employees, and in the classified unit there is a bumping process. So if your position gets laid off, you might bump into the last position you held if you're more senior than people in that position. So employees not electing to exercise their right to bump or displace another employee, that would be a group that then those notices could be rescinded. Attrition due to retirements and resignations also impacted the rescissions. Employees who voluntarily agreed to reductions in their assignments, that's a small number. The negotiated reductions that CSEA conducted, and additional grant funding that came in very recently. So altogether, after the issuance of rescission notices, 20.4 FTE of classified non-management remain on the layoff list. Barring additional funding, these employees would have their services reduced or eliminated at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year, and per Ed Code 45117, final layoff notices must be issued before May 15th. And we would need board authorization to do that. And I'll restate what was said earlier, that funding sources that we've talked about, you've all listed them, could potentially change the final layoff, in which case notices could continue to be rescinded. And we have the same rehiring list, the 39-month rehire list as well.
Okay. Questions? Trustee Carrion.
So my two biggest concerns on this list are the HSAs and the mental health. And so, Mr. D'Alonso, can you, first of all, explain about the mental health? Because we've been hearing that they're going to be shut down at the high schools. Can you just give us some more information on that?
Yes, Trustee Carrion, when you say mental health, just a little bit more specific.
Well, these jobs, the wellness center.
Oh, the wellness center position. So I'm just going to be specific. Is it number 29 and 30? Which ones?
Yes, and because they're saying that at the high schools that means the whole thing's going to be shut down. That's the rumor that's going on. So if you could just.
I see. Thank you. So the two positions currently are staffed at the two high schools, the wellness center support specialists. The notion of closing the wellness center due to these positions being released is not yet determined. We are actively looking at other positions that could support the wellness center. Right now, we have wellness coaches, which is a different position. We have wellness coaches 1, wellness coaches 2 positions that we feel will be supporting the wellness centers at the high schools and actually into the middle schools as well. If resources were to not materialize where we think they may be, we will prioritize the high schools because we feel that that's where the greatest need is, that's where the volume of services for the wellness center reside, and so we will focus our resources to the high schools first, and then, of course, middle schools and so on. But there's no plan as of today that we're closing the wellness centers at the high school.
Okay, and in regards to the HSAs, again, as an elementary teacher, I sent 5 kids to the office today. I mean, I just do it constantly, and so I'm not sure if we're cutting all the other positions in here, how the job's going to get done and how the kids are going to be safe.
Is that a question? So safety, health and safety is our number 1 priority. And so I had the opportunity to meet with both the health services assistants myself, and I met with the nurses as well, and I expressed that same sentiment clearly. In terms of where the positions fell on the reductions list is where they fell, and we are at that point now where we have to make some decisions. Services, if you're asking me what my thoughts are in terms of how students will be provided service, the thinking at the time when we were asked to develop an options list was, what was the FTE prior to the pandemic? Where can there be duplicative services that maybe other office staff may have on their job descriptions to provide health services to our students? We took a lot of things into consideration, how many other people were in the office. I'm speaking right now only of elementary. So through that analysis, we were able to put on the list the HSA position. Where they landed in terms of the reduction list, or the reduction list, we had staff, we didn't have control over that, but we're answering your questions. So there are people in the office, I'm going to answer your question directly. There are other staff members in the office in their job description that can provide health services. In my meeting with the HSAs and the nurses, they feel, and I believe what they have told me, that there are a lot of services that maybe we didn't account for. There's, tracking of records, of student records. There's actual testing of students, immunization, working with diabetic students and so forth. So if you're asking me, are we able and ready, willing, and able to provide services should these positions be phased out? We will have to. We will have to find a way. But these positions are critical to our services and office for health needs of our students.
Trustee Jones?
So I see on the list that 4 of the 9 HSAs have had their are going to be rescinded and no longer laid off on this list. Do you know which of the 4 elementary schools that will be at?
So I believe on the list is a total of 4.5 FTE, and that is 50% of the day at the 9 elementary schools. So they are only 4-hour employees at the elementary schools, which makes that 4.5 FTE. So in effect, the reduction is all 4.5 FTE.
Because the reason why I was reading at this is Exhibit B is showing that you are rescinding or removing the let's see, a 0.5, a 0.5, a 0.5, and a 0.5.
I see. I'll defer to HR. In terms of that
Thank you.
percentage.
Yes, I'll ask our Director Stone to give you the details because she's the one who handled that.
Thank you. So as Assistant Superintendent Graywall shared at the beginning, classified employees have a number of options. One of those options is to bump or displace a less senior employee, either in the same classification or a classification that they held previously. So the individuals on the rescinded list are about them exercising their individual employment rights and not about a change to the position that they are in currently.
Okay, thanks. So it's a different recension than the, for example, library media assistant. Okay.
That's correct.
Other questions? I have one question. Why is this list so much more expansive compared to certificated?
So the classified list, first of all, there were partial reductions to several employee groups, and in some cases there were multiple line items for the same employee group on the list of reductions, whereas certificated tends to be a 1.0 whole employee in most cases. For classified, employees have a variety of hours worked, and so their FTE varies. So there were more positions due to the fact that in that sense there's more employees. But I want to remind the board about the temp release process. So on the certificated list, we've already released 50 temp employees back in February when you approved the resolution to release temporary employees. So the list for certificated would not include those employees because they were already released. Does that make sense? So we have roughly, when all is said and done, about the same number of reductions for both units. It's about 30 FTE in this year's reduction in force overall. This resolution won't demonstrate that because we've got a bunch of things. This is just the layoffs to the specific employees impacted, right? It doesn't show you all of the FTE. So the reduction to each unit is about the same. The difference is you don't see all the temp releases that already occurred on the certificated list that you see on the classified list. Does that help?
Yes. I have another question. Hypothetically, because labor negotiations are still going on with one labor union party, could some of these positions be rescinded later following that same ruling of 24 months to 39 months? Should additional negotiations provide additional funding negotiated? Is what my question is. Hypothetically, is this a generic question?
Yeah, hypothetically, if we identify any additional savings, whether they're through PPA or grant funds or money from the state or negotiations, whatever the category of funding the source is, any additional funds could result in positions that are being cut being rescinded. That would be the board's decision about where to apply the funds. For the time being, the direction we were given is to follow the list, the rescission list that you gave us. But that is your option to revisit that list as needed. But yes, additional funding sources could result in rescinding notices unless, for example, they're only one-time funds. That would make it difficult to hire someone back on one-time funds.
Okay, I think that's a great clarification. And then I'll take it back to you, Mr. D'Alazzo. But so, just to expand on what you just stated, if additional funding came back through, as you stated, 4 different ways, then most likely following the list that the board's already approved, in that sequence, the positions could be rescinded back.
That's
Correct?
true, correct, except for if the funds were earmarked for a particular type of service. You know, if a grant was obtained that is particularly tied to health and safety, you know, and then you wouldn't look at positions on the list that don't relate to that. It might specifically earmark a particular position. I feel like Mr. D'Alazzo wants to add something.
Thank you, Mr. D'Alazzo. Yes?
I was itching to put my finger on here. But Ms. Graywall beat me to the punch. So the direction we received from the board regarding rescinding of specific positions, should a grant, should a funding source, local, state funding source, be earmarked for specific positions or specific themes of positions, I'll just say health and safety, for example. The direction from the board at the time, my understanding was then we can sort of go off list and find those positions that match that specific grant. So, thank you.
And to expand on that, for the public's benefit, what are some additional grants that are being considered?
There are potential, not only grants, so I'll just clarify, other funding sources. So we may have current grants right now in-house that we're looking at that may address some of the other needs that we're laying off that we can kind of tap into. There is not one grant per se that's going to support like the total number of positions. I'll give you an example. When we got that viability grant from Alameda County Office of Ed, it was about $290,000. That did not bring back all the social workers, but it brought back 3.0 FTE. You know, don't quote me, but whatever the FTE was, which was a portion of the total FTE that was released. So that's the concept that we're going with. We can piecemeal grants, title funds, LCAP possibly, any local revenues that come in, foundation money, you know, donations. It's all of it can come into play when we're putting together positions or bringing back positions through the funding sources.
Okay, 2 more questions. To expand on when you said foundation, do we have a timeline for our amazing partnership with PPIE and what their process will look like and what that timing will be?
Dr. Geisels may be able to answer the timing question. We've been in conversation with them, but we're respectful of their process. And they have a board and they have their whole process. So, Dr. Geisels?
Yeah, to that point, they're going to meet this Monday night, and they're going to be looking at an array of things, and they have to look at what their donors, what matches their needs to and their desires.
Great. And last question before I pass it off to other trustees for any additional questions. What about medical billing? There's been a lot of conversations about medical billing, and which positions would that apply to, potentially, and when?
Yeah, that one is actually would come to our discretion. It's unrestricted in terms of what monies are reimbursed. We've not planned that out yet internally. The when is the question of the year. We've been waiting to see how much we could possibly generate. We're in the process of piloting and working with specific people who are billers, meaning positions that can actually bill and get reimbursed money for medical. We're not medical providers, but we are sort of the conduit to provide medically related services, right? Like mental health services and health services. So I don't know the answer to that, President McCaughey, because we're in the beginning stages of it. I don't know if Ms. Graywall can add any more because we have been meeting with our labor partners.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is the amount of revenue that will come from the medical health billing is not certain yet because it's so new. However, we do have a large number, I think at least 30 certificated staff members who are qualified health billing employees, and at least 2 classified, I believe. It might be more. We are very close. I think we are within a day or 2 of completing an agreement with APT around this process to continue it into next year, because this first year was a pilot. So all things look good with regards to this. When we have a sense of how much funding is going to come in, it could be ongoing, an ongoing revenue source for the district. And it supports mental health, wellness, health-related concerns.
Trustee Brown?
I was just going to clarify something the Deputy Superintendent mentioned. You were saying about the foundation and donations, et cetera, but I think foundation money tends to be treated differently than donations, because donations would be one-time in nature, whereas foundation money, they can show a predictability, and so can be used for helping augment ongoing positions, whereas I think just public donations, that doesn't qualify. Is that correct? Did you want to?
Yeah, you're correct, Trustee Brown. We can't rely on donations because they're unknown from year to year, but there could be donations that could be earmarked for multi-year. That would be great. Same with foundation money, same with, there's Prop 28, like how do we leverage Prop 28? That's the mechanics and the calculations that we're going through, and while we are actively talking to other potential local revenue sources. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's really appreciated for clarification in the nonprofit world. So thank you, Trustee Brown. Yes, Trustee Walker.
So you said that we have you said two classified people who do medical billing? Is that what you said?
As far as I know, Mr. DeLazio may know of others, but I know that like the wellness coaches are
And so
certified.
that's my question for the certified wellness coaches that are on this final layoff notices. They could potentially do medical billing, correct?
Potentially. Two positions that were slated to be laid off were rescinded. They're part of the
Right.
rescinding process. The other three at this time, and the two that were rescinded were due to the Alameda County Viability Grant, as Mr. DeLazio said, that funded partial social workers. It was actually 1.8 FTE, to be clear, of social workers, and then 2 FTE on the classified side with the wellness coaches. As additional funding, I think, comes back or is generated by the billers,
Okay.
then those positions tied to providing health services could potentially come back. You want to add?
Yeah, while the wellness coaches too that you see on the list are classified, they do have a certain certification that they are able to then bill. So those are the positions. And there were, I think, a total of, I don't have the FTE on me, but there were 5 people who were certified wellness coach 2s, and we were able to bring them back because of that viability grant. But if we did not get the viability grant, then all of them would be on this list because the grant, another grant actually went away. It was only a one-time grant for the certified wellness coaches, which we had this year. So grants are another thing, to Trustee Brown's point. You know, how long is the grant? And we have to plan that out as well.
Okay. If there are no other questions, thank you so much. You can sit down. We will open this item for public comment. If there's anyone that plans to speak on this item, please come up now. Do we have any cards at this point? No cards at this point. So if there's anyone that would like to speak, please feel free to come up speak first, then fill out a comment card afterwards. Or if you're waiting in line, please go get a comment card now. Thank you. Yes, because you don't have a comment card, if you could just introduce your name, please,
Sure.
and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. Do I just push this? Yes. Great, thanks. It's a little ironic, the conversations that I've just been listening to.
Just introduce yourself first.
Okay, I'm Susan Case. I am one of the Wellness Coach 2s that's on the list to get my final notice. So this is a face that's going to get affected. Part of the reason I'm here also, the comment about the wellness centers at the high school, as conversations have been going on, that this has been potentially coming to us in the future, it's pretty close to reality that the wellness centers would be primarily closed. There isn't staffing. The counselors aren't going to cover it. They don't have time based on their tasks that they have to do. The Wellness Center Support Specialist is also on the list to be cut. And so that person won't be there to help triage or navigate anything. On top of the fact that our front office will only have, 2 full-time employees handling, the attendance and all of the office stuff. Our health services person is going to be only 4 hours, and then one of our attendance people will only be 4 hours. So the 2 full-time in the front office are going to be covering all of the excess from what maybe those positions would have been doing, on top of all of the kids trying to come into counseling to see the counselors on a normal basis, and if by chance the wellness center might be open, also trying to use those services. It's physically impossible. I've been in and out the last couple of days, and it's been chaotic, even with the people that are there. I had a kid come in today who was stressed because of finals, worked with him on study habits and stuff, and he felt better when he left, 10, 15 minutes. But on an average, I see over 300 kids in a month. for one thing or another, even if it's just for a quiet time that they just need space to chill. How that would be covered, I have no idea. Do I love my job? Yes, I love my job. And as far as like the billing sessions, I'm one of the people there's 5 coaches. We're all able to do it. We're all able to do the SHRS. But there's been so many glitches. We haven't really had a lot to get through. So that's been a very slow process. It's like walking through mud. But we're getting there. So hopefully that ramps up and something is successful with that. It's a great process. But it's just being held back by little glitches here and there. But as far as we need those wellness centers at the high schools, we need them one way or the other. So I hope you consider that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Thomas Choi and then Beth Thompson.
Good evening. The board mentions tonight that these cuts are painful, regrettable, and sad, attributing them to declining enrollment and past board decisions. However, the reality is that the board will unanimously approve the permanent layoffs of 49 student-facing staff tonight. Just a few weeks ago, the board and the executive staff compared PUSD to Oakland and Hayward districts to suggest that PUSD is doing better. That is not the case. While those districts face significant challenges, they actually managed their finances and successfully moved out of negative certification. Unfortunately, PUSD now stands alone as the only district in Alameda County in this state of fiscal emergency. Our reserves are completely depleted, and we must take out $30 million in loans before the start of this upcoming school year just to keep the lights on and cover payroll. These layoffs include essential health-related roles that directly impact our children, specifically wellness center support specialists, paraprofessionals, and others. Many of these positions, such as the reading intervention specialists and parent liaisons, are funded through LCAP restricted accounts. Even tonight, district staff are unable to provide direct answers to basic questions regarding funding sources that could bring these people back. This reduction process started 8 months ago in the fall. Given the strict legal requirements governing these funds, it's very concerning that precise answers still cannot be provided regarding how these are being used and how they might be leveraged to save these roles. The decision to proceed with these student-facing layoffs while executive cabinet members will receive an $8,000 raise on July 1st is particularly concerning, especially out of respect for the people that will have their jobs affected tonight. I particularly highlighted these raises and urged the board to at the very least, implement a salary freeze. Instead of freezing executive pay, the board is choosing to eliminate the staff who directly support our children. I urge Pleasanton residents to consider their choices in the November election. We need leadership that prioritizes the classroom, prioritizes our children, and keep the district staff accountable to the same level of standards that we expect from our children. Thank you very much.
Okay. Lenny, if you could state the next person's name again and the next person in the line.
So Beth Thompson and then Beth Gino.
Hello. I hadn't actually planned to speak tonight, so I'm going off script, so this is even more terrifying than usual. I am quietly seething, which is one of the reasons why I'm standing up here. I do not understand how you could not know that children require actual medically trained professionals on site. Our children have issues like diabetes that require specific training. I was at the school this week. I've been at the school all week doing stuff for teacher appreciation, and I watched a young boy come in that had got a little cut on his lip from the fact that they were dry. And the administrative staff told me they couldn't even give him chapstick or Vaseline because that is not allowed. How are you going to give administration staff the power to take care of our children when they can't? They literally can't. Their hands are tied by the rules that are currently in place. These people should never have been on the chopping block, and quite frankly, the fact that they still are is absolutely disgusting, and the fact that we are here in May and you guys haven't figured that out by now is appalling.
Can you restate the next person's name, please?
Beth Geno.
Thank you.
I am a secretary at Foothill, or secretary to at Foothill. This is the first time I'm speaking here. and it's kind of a last-minute thing. I would like to address the loss of the Wellness Center and Support Specialist, the Wellness Coach, the Health Clerk, and the Attendance Secretary's cut in hours. Basically, the loss of 3.5 people. Many times, I wish the Wellness Center somewhere else because of the influx of students. Let me repeat that last part, because of the influx of students. Today's lifestyle has put many students at risk for mental health issues. We all see this. We do not have the I do not have the numbers, but in the 6.5 years I have been at Foothill in the counseling area, I have witnessed the way we are able to help students that come in with problems. I do not see these problems going away, yet we will be expected to help these students with fewer resources. My desk is located at one of the main entries to the front office, the point in which students access the health office, the CWA's office, and the counseling and wellness offices. Our Wellness Center and Support Specialist, Karina Harold, has been instrumental in keeping the flow of students moving either to the designated academic counselor, school psychologist, social emotional counselor, or the Wellness Center for the wellness coach to assist. Losing Mrs. Harold will cause more interruptions at the front office where I currently sit. And on top of my counseling responsibilities, which is 504s, SSTs, to name a few, I now answer the all-day attendance line and provide backup for our attendance window, whose hours have been halved, and backup for the health office, whose position is being eliminated. And you can insert an exploding head emoji here. Losing Mrs. Harold, the Wellness Center Support Specialist, and Mrs. Case, the Wellness Coach, will directly affect the interaction of the students with our counselors. Losing our health clerk, Mrs. McAllister, will directly affect all students with medical and health issues, those who need to come in and take their meds on a daily basis, to name a few. The amount of ill students coming into the health office on a daily basis is incredible, and Ava McAllister is able to handle them all in a timely manner with kindness and compassion. In relation to my own job responsibilities, this school year, Foothill lost a 4-hour-a-day attendance secretary to Amador. The 4 hours were absorbed by our attendance secretary, Padma Gopalan, and myself, technically adding 2 hours of work to each of our days. Now Padma's job is being reduced to 4 hours a day. She'll be expected to work a 10-hour day in 4 hours. I will also be I will also be losing my ability to complete my already stretched-thin job functions. Foothill currently has 234 students with 504 accommodation plans. Over 143 of those had meetings held this year. My job also requires me to work alongside our attendance secretary, Padma Gopalan, who is currently slated to get her hours cut in half. A word about Padma's cut: that leaves 2.5 people in the main office, Elizabeth Colon, Padma, and myself, covering all of our responsibilities. Thank you. Please take a moment to consider these cuts. The Foothill is a great place to work, and it is a great place to send our children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments? Okay, we will close public comment and concluding comments before we seek a vote for this resolution.
Over a year ago, I asked about medical billing, and so one of those things that I'm glad to see is coming through and that we are so close is medical billing. So I'm looking forward, and I'm very curious to see what will be the result of that and how much we can make out of that. I know that you are also working behind the scenes with some of our community partners to try and see if they can help us with some of these positions, which I appreciate. But I also know that because of that, we can't necessarily talk publicly because that's a private agreement that's still trying to be hammered out. I also know that none of us still wanted to be here in May waiting on bargaining. I know that's not easy. Bargaining is a rough, it's a painful thing to be in. I've sat in on those tables before. It is not easy. And I would like to believe that through bargaining with APT, we'll be able to continue to bring some of these back. And I believe that PPIE prioritizes quite a few of these as well. We did. Many of these positions are pretty high up on that list. So with the conclusions with PPIE, APT, and some of these other agreements we're trying to work out, I'm of the belief that we'll be able to get some of these back. This is not, and as said by the audience, this is not where we want to be. And this is part of why, when we come to looking at next year, why we're going to have to start looking at what are things we can do regarding our reserves, and also what are things that we can do to make sure that we aren't in this position again.
Trustee Walker.
Okay. Well, I concur with Trustee Jones. I mean, I'm hopeful that these funding sources are going to come through. Especially, I'm hopeful that the money from the state is going to, and our foundation, because you're absolutely right. The health services assistants, I've said it on many meetings. I mean, they are invaluable, and I'm worried because the high schools have less high school secretary support, and who's going to take care of the kids with the seizures and the diabetic and whatnot. I've worked at the high schools. I've stepped in for our HSA there, and I have extreme concerns. And I'm hopeful that our foundation and again, like I said, we get some positive results from the governor, and we have other funding sources become available. But again, I'm very concerned, and I hate that we're in this position as well.
Trustee Carrion.
I'm sorry. I cannot completely eliminate our HSAs at the elementary school. I just can't. And so I'm asking the board here, is there any way that we could at least save them? Or a few. I mean, I don't like the fact that we're eliminating. The other ones were at least there have somebody there. I'm asking the board here because I don't know if I can vote for eliminating a whole program at the elementaries.
So procedurally, you can propose an amendment to the resolution and see if that can be supported by the board. So if you want to take a minute to look at the resolution and see how to amend it and see if the motion carries with the board.
Can I ask a question around this? So, because I feel like, one, we need Ahmad probably here to potentially answer this question, but like, if we are going to do something like this, then where financially are we able to pull that from? Like, do we have anything currently left? Or basically, yeah, we probably need a mod to tell us, do we have anything anywhere currently that we could use to do that because of early layoff, early retirement, early positionings?
I think just to help with the thinking, I don't have I'm trying to get the document up. Financially, with the HSAs, what number is associated with that, please?
270,000.
I don't know if the staff is prepared to answer Trustee Jones' question, but or if you can, that's great. But otherwise, I think for Trustee Carrion's question is what amount is associated to the HSAs?
270,000.
I'm sorry?
270,000 for 26-27.
Okay, so I think then that if you were to make probably an amendment to this, it would probably have to be the approval of the list with an amendment that if staff can locate 270,000, it would remove the...
Hold on. I think what I'm recommending is if you want to adjust the motion to the resolution, you adjust the resolution, but not to give out a solution of how to get this 270K. That's like, I'm just saying in terms of thinking, I don't think it's necessarily something that we could put on the fly right now in the middle of the dais of how to resolve the 270K. Right, but I'm just saying that the question is basically what you're asking, Trustee Carrion. I'm stating factually, if that's something that you wish to do, then what the action needs to be done is to present that motion. Then if the motion passes, then we have the conversation. I mean, make the motion and second it, and then we have the conversation. So I just want to clarify with you, Trustee Jones, to make that comment, we need to get the motion set, and then we discuss.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to remove the elementary health service assistance .5 from this resolution.
Second.
So I just want to make sure we have a first and a second. So now we need to vote on it before we discuss.
Excuse me a second. I haven't had an opportunity to say anything yet.
Well, yes, yes, but what I'm trying to say is if it doesn't pass, then there's no discussion.
Robert's rules is you have first and a second, then it goes in discussion before a final vote. So you would be able to.
Okay. So, okay. Our financial condition is such that we have made a commitment to the county to meet a number. By making this motion at this time, you are changing that number. You are changing that commitment to the county. I don't know if we can even do this. Secondly, like, my angst with all of this is obviously as a district, we're all proud of PUSD. We're all proud of the work our teachers do for our students, but we're equally proud of the supports that surround our teachers, including the RISs, the media specialists, and the wellness coaches, and the HSAs, and the custodians, and all the others that are mentioned in this item. And that is the hard part about being in a district that is facing declining enrollment, being in a county that's facing declining enrollment, and being in a state that is facing declining enrollment. We have some constraints as it relates to our contract that that prohibit our ability to scale the way than some of the other districts, right? As an example, we have both teacher-student ratios as well as staffing ratios, which is one of the items that was that's still under discussion with APT. So I hesitate at this point in time to be, just because Trustee Carrion, you have the most angst around the HSAs, I could make a very similar argument for the impact to parents, because we don't have PE specialists, and therefore we're going to have to adjust the school day. I can make the same argument for the paraprofessionals, for the media specialists, and if we cherry pick one or two of our most concerning, based on we're going backwards 3 or 6 months of discussion, and that's extremely frustrating. All of these cuts are painful. I do not want to do any of these cuts. However, I have a fiduciary responsibility as a trustee of this district that I was elected to do, and we have made a commitment to the county, and we have to validate against that commitment before we make any motion or vote on it.
Sorry, I was just stepping out on a procedural item. I hear your point, Trustee Brown, and I would like to just state in terms of, I do concur with Trustee Brown's statement. We have a painstaking process that we have gone through with this process, engaging the community, and I completely understand what you're saying, Trustee Carrion, in terms of a passion for one particular position. However, I do concur there are other positions that I feel very, very, very strongly about in regards to going into certificated, and at the 11th hour, I do feel that, and that's why I wanted to go through the motion process to have the conversation. I understand your point, but I do concur with Trustee Brown that it will actually undermine our process and undermine what we had put in place to have it systematic, methodical, and that's why we went through the whole voting process and waiting, and we as a board made our own concessions too. So I am a little frustrated because We have worked really, really hard as a board to go through this process so that we can vet out some of these concerns. So I completely respect if you have changed your mind, you have that right, but we as trustees do have this responsibility, and I'm a process person, and to change the process right at the last minute, I think would be an onus on our responsibility and actually undermine our work as individual trustees and ultimately therefore as a board. So I confirm firmly on this case, adamantly, with Trustee Brown on this. But that said, that's the whole point why we have a discussion. And in the past, we've never had the opportunity to have these conversations, so it's important we vet these points.
I understand, but the problem to me is this is being eliminated. That's the difference. All the other ones, they're being smaller or shortened. This is no more. No more at the elementary. Gone, finale, goodbye.
I completely understand, Trustee Carrion. I do. But sometimes things have to change. So I completely hear you. I do. In Fremont, and I hate, like sometimes people might roll their eyes like, oh, there goes that person talking about their school or whatever. But I want to give the context of I've been working for 3 years in another school district. Fremont has 39 elementary schools. They have no HSAs in any of their elementary schools. And for the 3 years I've been working at the campus I'm at, we've had no ambulance, no medical emergency that has impeded the safety of the children. They also don't have assistant principals at the elementary schools as well. I am an elementary teacher person, passion, so I know what you're saying. It's hard to deal with a kindergartner or a 4-year-old that has a medical situation, but it's the district's responsibility to ensure safety for our children. They're not going to have a public school institution in place without having the proper safeguards. We're not. There's too much liability. Change is hard. Change is really hard, and it sucks. But I am telling you that we as a board have our responsibility to make a fiduciary responsibility, and it's us that did not stand up to previous presentations from previous situations and errors that we have to own up on. But I hear you. It's not easy. But we have a fiduciary responsibility, and it's on us, the board.
Is there, I don't know if it's possible, is there any way that we can have, get a hold of Ahmad for this?
Trustee Jones, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to step in here. This is the decision. We have the facts, we have the information. We need to discuss this here. Trustee Walker, I encourage you to speak up, and others. We need to make a decision. We can't delay this any further. That's actually scheduling why we had to put it on this meeting. We can't delay this anymore. We can't kick the can any further. We need to make a decision.
I get that. I apologize that I was asking for our director of finance
Okay,
to
what I'm
answer
trying to
questions
say
for me.
is at some point, we as trustees, it's not our time and place to be directing staff right now. If anything, just
I'm not. I just wanted to know.
then direct it to Dr. Geisels, and Dr. Geisels, please answer the question.
Yes. Ahmad Chicos Lasami is out on personal.
No, I don't. I was just wondering, would it, do we, based off of the, because I don't want him to have to tell why he's not here, because that's personal.
Yeah.
I just want to know, is from the early resignations, layoffs, and retirements and that, is there currently within the budget space to do this?
I would say if there were, we're going to have to wait till the third interim shakes out before we're north or south on anything, because those variances haven't come in. So I think we're working right now on all the assumptions of our last plans to actual.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies where I will have to fall.
If I can add one other thing, I mean, it was mentioned tonight that we have to issue the final notice by the 15th, which is why we have to make a decision tonight as a board in order for staff to meet the regulatory requirements that we have. It was also mentioned tonight that there's nothing that prevents that final notice being rescinded should additional funding become available. Now, should that funding come available because staff says that they've worked between second interim and third interim and they believe that they've identified additional funding that could be put towards HSAs, or that PPIE has decided that they're going to prioritize one item above another, or the excellent staff that we have been applying for every grant in the book and they've come up with another grant that's going to save a specific position because that grant applies to that position. We still have that ability after tonight. But I'm not in favor of, it's not that I'm not listening to the public comment. It's not that I'm not listening to all the emails and all the advocacy for all these positions, because I care about all these positions and all the people in them as well. But I also, with respect to Mr. Choi, it is incorrect to say that Oakland is not in a worse state than we are. They came out of state control after 20 years, and within a year, they're most likely, come July 1st, going to slip back into state oversight. I do not want to be a district that is in that state. So we are not in that state, and I will not vote to put us in that state.
Trustee Vice President Walker, yes.
I just want to say that I want to have this conversation about every single position that's on here. I want to take every single one off. I do. I mean, every single one, because these were all on our threes. But we have a fiscal responsibility. We have to get to that 11.2 million. The fiscal expert, Kate Lane, told us, I mean, we have to. We did have a very painstaking process, a very long, drawn-out one. And I think we need to stay the course. We need to do the process that we decided that we were going to do. And then I'm very hopeful that the foundation will come through, that we can bring many of these positions back. But I think I need to stand firm on, we need to get to that number. We need to do the layoff notices by May 15th. And I hate to say hope, but I just am really, I guess, having positive, giving out positive thoughts that, you know, we're going to be able to rescind some of these positions. But again, I want to bring every single one of these positions back. And I don't think that, we have to stay the course. We have to get to the 11.2 million. That's.
Dr. Geisels, you said you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I would say that your fiduciary responsibility is extremely important. And if you look at a process question too, you know, when we went through this, and I can appreciate you guys are really feeling this, and it's a very difficult situation. When we went through these magnificent cuts, I mean, option 3 was like 24, 25 on the list alone. It was really tough. And keeping to the process, I think, was really important. And as you go through a process like that, it's really hard to see exactly how valuable a program is. And I appreciate everybody here and commenting it. There's also people not in the room that would comment on other things. So HSAs, this is, of course they're important. And other people will say, well, wait a second, why not me too? And I think the process is there for fairness, and there's nothing that could prevent you from saying, look, you know, we've listened to a lot of people, we heard staff suggestions, we listened to public comment. We have to wait for the dust to settle and see what on the impact of the order of the list, which ones now seem that were more at risk, particularly for students, than with others. So there's nothing that would prevent us from coming back and saying something needs to come back before something else. I think it should be done more methodically, and I think it should be done, you know, with more consistency to a process. and fairness to everyone who's on those lists.
Okay, I want to go back to Trustee Jones. If you had any other comments, I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt so abruptly.
No, I think I got the information that I needed. So if you want to call the question on this amendment, we can vote and see if it fails.
Any other comments? Okay, yes, so just to reiterate, I was trying to make sure the procedures are correct. So currently on the table is an amendment to the resolution, which is basically, just for the record, Trustee Carrion, it's basically amending the current resolution minus the 270K or whatever that position, the number allotment. Okay, so if you support it, you say aye, and if it's no, you vote no. And then we'll have to go back to the original motion because we're having an amendment motion. So yes, thank you, everyone. So we will do a roll call vote. Trustee Brown?
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
And no. Okay, so motion fails 4-1. So now we are looking for a original motion for the original resolution, a motion for the resolution as originally presented to the board.
I shall move the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Jones, seconded by Brown. We'll do a roll call vote.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Motion passes 4-1. Okay, I wanted to thank the board for this conversation and for the space for us to speak out the points. So we will continue to move forward on the next agenda item, which is C, report, discussion, strategic plan, refresh, approximately 90 minutes.
Okay, would you guys like to take a break and we come back in 5 minutes?
Sure, that sounds good. Okay, let's reconvene at 7:30.
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay, we are resuming. Item C, report, discussion, strategic plan, refresh process. I'm going to change the order a little bit. I'm going to open it for public comment before we start. Yeah. Okay, we'll close it for public comment. All right, this goes to Dr. Geisels. This is report, discussion, strategic plan, refresh process. 90 minutes or less. Time's ticking now.
Lenita, could we put on 60 minutes? Hopefully that's a good timer. Okay, so, I wanted to call this study session so everybody would be fresh for the refresh. And it's been pretty heavy, but maybe that's okay because there's a lot of things in here that I think that you'll start warming up to and feel inspired by. The other thing, too, we talk about money a lot. Usually outside consultants do this, and we're doing it all on our own. And I really want to thank Suzanne Frey and Lenita Villasenor for all their work because they've been working hard. You'll see schedules, all kinds of stuff. So this is not about a redo. It's about really refining and looking at a draft for the beliefs that we can go out with our listening tour and confirming really what remains in PUSD. Review also the future vision and mission statements and come out with a draft that we can do our listening tour on, and then gather board input ahead, again, of the community. So we want to just real quickly here, you are the start, you kick it off, and you finish it off. We started it last in April. Tonight we're going to do some substantive work. The first meeting in June will be pretty much of a wood plan, and then we'll make it iron and go to the final action on the second meeting in June. You can see where the educational partner engagement across all the educational partners. It'll be in person, online. There'll be plenty of opportunities to participate, and thank you for the suggestion. We were thinking about it. We will have open to everyone in terms of input, and Suzanne is going to put that out in the May 13th, eConnect, so anybody can weigh in on it. So when you look at the strategic framework, you're really looking at beliefs, vision, mission, and I don't call them goals, we call them strategic directions. We looked at the strategic directions every year. We did last June, and we will again next month. We have 6 of them. That's where everything is based on as far as the what we're going to do. And when we look at the beliefs, they're really the things that shape our future and decision making. Vision is what we aspire to be. It's more future oriented. And mission is, well, when I get my boots on the ground every day, what am I doing? What's my mission today? The interesting thing about strategic planning, and I'll say this right out of the gate, I have watched people spin out what's a vision, what's a mission, what's a, all these different things. And really what it's coming out as words matter. And when we can articulate what we believe and what we're looking forward to in the future and what our directions are, when we can come up with those words and repeat those words, they really have an impact. In many organizations, they don't have necessarily this framework. They have things like stories, they have metaphors, they have sayings, and that helps shape their culture and their direction, right, and their strategy. In this case, this is the framework we've picked, and I appreciate the fact that there's 2 types of frameworks, one that are done and ones that are not. So we're going with this one. This is the graphical representation where beliefs are at the top, vision and mission, strategic directions, and of course they align very solidly and focus to the LCAPs and SIPSs. In a sense, it becomes everyone's goals and objectives. What's important to note here is that directions come and go. What compliance measures to set out goals and objectives come and go. What is held constant is beliefs. And many times in cultures, those beliefs aren't talked about, and it's kind of the luck of the draw whether everyone has shared beliefs or not. So you can see this kind of work in organizational development throughout all kinds of organizations. It's kind of silly. I almost took a picture of it when I was really an organizational development geek. I actually had my kids do a mission statement. We sat down all day Saturday and we wrote one about this long, and they still talk about it, what they believe in and the direction of who we are as a family. And then again, just really quickly, why beliefs instead of core values? Beliefs, our values are more, what we value, what is aspirational. They feel a little more static and symbolic. Beliefs, what we believe to be true. You see a lot of these in Constitution. They're more of drivers of how we think, act, and make decisions, and they show up in behavior and culture, and they create coherence across the system. So beliefs move us from what we say to what we do, I think, more effectively. But again, this is nuanced. We don't need to bring in an elephant to teach the color pink, and if you can be patient with me, this is the framework we're going to go with. And really, we're not starting with a blank piece of paper here, because we have a lot of things that already define PUSD. We have high expectations, strong and consistent academic outcomes. Overall, when you gauge us against so many educational institutions, we have very safe, supportive learning environments, a commitment to equity, which is growing, and I really appreciate the board's focus on equity. In the past, it's been hard to get attention on our students who can be the most marginalized, and we'll talk about that next week a little bit with the ad hoc committee. We got a really dedicated, high-quality staff. We're a go-to district, Marta, thank you very much, evidenced by the pool of talent that we have applying for administrators and all their roles. And we're thinking about preparation for life and after school. So why refresh now? Wow, we sat down and we went through this list on the delta of this thing's over 10 years old, our strategic plan, and just take a look at what's changed, right? We are in a student well-being and a post-COVID needs. Lots changed since COVID. Changing demographics. 71% of our students now are South and East Asian. So tremendous shift over the last couple of decades. Rapid shifts in technology. Do you know that AI is really only used publicly for, I think, the last 3 years? And it's changed so much since we've been here. And the pendulum swinging in terms of, you know, I can remember in the early 2000 teens, everybody getting excited about Chromebooks, right? Get that iPad in everyone's hand. Now it's swung the other way. What about our humanness? What about our connection? What about teaching and learning being incredibly disrupted by the use of AI? So there's a lot of beliefs in that we have to revisit. And then, of course, this probably sums it up well. I think this is the first time PUSD has ever been in the position of saying, drop your child off at our schools because we're facing declining enrollment, lower birth rates and stuff. And this is the short list. So it's probably a good reason why we at least need to do our refresh, because it's not a do-over. Our beliefs remain strong. We are clarifying, not replacing. We're updating our language back to that because words matter. And what we're making, we want to value and be more explicit about it. Make sense? So, emerging themes from the input and data. Well, first of all, what we did, and thank you for doing your homework, we took all that information, and, you know, I love the idea of working with AI, that you do 70 to 80% of the work. Use it iteratively. You should walk away feeling like you have by far a better product and that you've learned something. So we used the methodology of artificial intelligence, and we iterated and we talked about it. Artificial intelligence can be definitely biased, but one thing I liked about it in particular, it was more objective. I didn't think about who said it or when they said it or how much someone said. And then what we did in terms of the methodology is I took the themes and reviewed them with Cabinet, Mr. Dialazzo, Ms. Graywall, and Mr. Sheikul Islami, and kind of checked for understanding and some additions, right? They're the educators too. You started it, they pumped it up, and what we found, the emerging themes were maintain academic excellence while supporting student well-being, expanding pathways, not just academics, but every student reaching their full potential. You know, the students in that 10 to 15% range, which may not be A to G pathway, what about our students with them, right? Vocation, CTE, and the like. We also found an increasing engagement through relevant real-world learning, that the world of work is changing rapidly, and relationship skills and people skills and all kinds of skills are changing in the workforce today. And it's a changing world, definitely. You know, I think, and I don't want to editorialize here, but isn't it fascinating about the decline in birth rate and all the conversations about all the disruptions that are going on in the world, and thinking about technology and what it is to be human, and also strengthen partnerships more than ever with family and community. I remember listening to Mayor Balch talk about one of the issues in Pleasanton is the issue of loneliness, and that goes back to, especially since pre-pandemic, the real need to look at the whole learner. We looked at that word too, that came up. Whole child seems to be emerging into the whole learner, and the whole learner feeling connected, that human experience, right? So I think this is enough of emerging and the things that have happened in the last 10, 15 years to say we need to do a refresh, but at the same time, let's not get out a blank piece of paper and start all over again from scratch. Make sense? So with that, we're going to review the beliefs. Now, what you have in front of you here is a working piece of paper. Yeah, what's that? I am. Thank you. So what you have in front of you here is this draft. Well, excuse me, it's not homework. It's a worksheet. And up on the top here, you see, as you review, and I'll go through these, what resonates most, what feels unclear or missing, what language would you refine? Now, as I go through this, and you should actually start with belief 1 here, you're going to jot down notes, your thoughts, your reactions, and with these prompts, reacting to them, right? And then when I'm done with all of them, we'll get a chance to do a pair share. You know, we'll get together and you'll get a chance to talk, and then we'll talk as a group. Make sense? I'll repeat that again. So, in this case, what we did for each one, we dimensioned it was we're going to review the current statement, we're going to share with you the refreshed version, we're going to highlight what's new, and then we're going to confirm what remains core in that refreshed statement. So you'll get it as I go along here. And you've done a lot of this already for homework. Now you're looking at kind of the synthesized version of the methods I talked to you about. So, I think I went the wrong way here. Hold on. Okay, so again, this is the homework. What resonates, not the homework, the worksheet. What resonates most, what feels unclear, missing, and again, consider taking notes. So belief 1, and by the way, we're not numbering these. We just numbered them so we can refer to them as we go, not like the 3rd bullet, the 4th bullet, but number 1. Current, with guidance and support, all students can reach their greatest potential. Refresh. We support all students in reaching their greatest potential through their unique strengths and pathways to success. And by the way, what we have now, I'm just going to get some water. What we have now is the preamble of we believe on each one of these, but we thought that was a little redundant and repetitive, so we see that one there. So hold on to that, write down your thoughts, the prompts and the questions. Here's the second. Oh, no, belief 1. What's new? We added multiple pathways for success, a broader definition of achievement, meeting diverse student needs, and what remains is high expectations for all students, strong academic outcomes. Belief 2, the current one, is all students and staff have the right to a safe and respectful learning environment that fosters positive connections. The refreshed. We foster a safe, respectful, and inclusive environment that promotes connection, belonging, and well-being for all students and staff. Here's what's new. We have an explicit focus on belonging and inclusion. That's been a big evolution the past 10 years everywhere. It's not enough to just feel included. You really have to feel like you belong. It's kind of like you get a ticket into the dance, you're in the dance, but you really don't feel like you belong until you're dancing with someone. Emphasis on student well-being, that's increased. Recognition of the importance of relationship. They've tipped our hands on that already, and what remains? Safe, respectful learning environments, positive connections for students and staff. Belief 3, in ensuring a culture of climate that promotes a highly skilled, dedicated, and passionate educational team. Refreshed. We build a high-performing team through collaboration, trust, and shared responsibility for student success across the system. And what's new? Emphasis on collaboration and trust, shared responsibility across the system, focus on alignment and consistency across the school. And what remains? Highly skilled, dedicated, and passionate staff, and strong culture and climate for learning. Belief 4, our current one, is our responsibility to inspire curiosity and a passion for lifelong learning. Refreshed, we inspire curiosity and lifelong learning through critical thinking, creativity, and responsible use of technology, grounded in human connection. And what's new is an emphasis on critical thinking and creativity, responsible use of technology, and again, this is about how much screen time and AI approaches and things like that, and a balance between, again, human and technology and human connection. What remains is curiosity as a driver of learning and lifelong learning as a core goal. Belief 5, the current one is in providing learning that is innovative, irresistible, creative, relevant, and rigorous, refreshed. We provide innovative, engaging, relevant, inclusive, and rigorous learning that builds problem-solving, collaboration, and real-world application. What's new is greater emphasis on engagement and relevance, focus on problem-solving and real-world application, inclusion of collaboration, inclusive learning, and what remains is commitment to rigorous, high-quality instruction, innovative in creating learning experiences. And finally, thank you for allowing me to go through all these as you jot down your notes. Current. Public education should focus on the whole child, provide equitable opportunities for all students, and develop socially responsible individuals with character and integrity. They're refreshed. We develop the whole learner by advancing equity and preparing students for college, career, and life with character, integrity, and civic responsibility in partnership with families and the community. And finally, what's new is explicit connection to college, career, and life readiness, stronger emphasis on family and community partnerships, and recognition of learning beyond the school day. And what remains is whole child approach to education, equity, and opportunity for all students, and character and integrity. And you can see how these give a little more detail on the original merging themes that I talked about, right? So now what I'd like you to do is to, and I put this up here for a reason. You got all 6 here, so you can, I put this up here, thank you. I put this up here for a reason so you have all 6 to look at once. So you have a choice here. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to discuss all of these based on the prompts that we have. All right, hold on. Well, I lost it here. Where'd it go? Yeah, these are the prompts which are on your paper, right? They're on the top of your paper. And these are the refreshed beliefs in draft form. You don't have to, you can do whatever you want. You can go through them one by one. You can pick and choose. But I'm thinking that we either have a choice here. We can do one group of 3 and 2, or Ed and Namarta can join one of you, and you can do pairs. What would you prefer? Lori? 3 and 2? Okay.
Well,
great.
wait though, but then do we want to include?
You want to be included?
Yes.
Okay, you guys are going together? Great.
Okay, so we have some people in the public, so in order, why don't, if you two would like to come up to this table over here, so that when we report out that you have access to a microphone, and I will give my packet of information to you guys, and then I'll share with my colleague.
Okay, so let's take until, I think you need a good 5 minutes, so we're going to count down to, so 39 minus 5 would be 34. I'll just set the timer on my phone. There we go.
So what subjects did you teach?
All right. Set the timer for 5 minutes.
That's not always good in the classroom. I know.
Okay, don't take that as a... So you had your phone on to record?
Yes.
I'm going to put mine on too.
Say that we're trying to take notes because tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's important that we agree on.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Set the alarm for 3 minutes.
for asking. Doing well. Oh my, no, they won't.
Okay, 1 minute.
Save the power.
Yeah, I know I am. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are actually going to record all this and transfer it. And then we've got a pretty quick turnaround because tomorrow is our... Should get a wireless mic. Well, we're going to record this because we're going to create a transcript and then do some work tonight. Take 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to record this and create a transcript because tonight in early morning we have to call it in. If we can't get to not agreement, but to the changes tonight that everybody feels good about, we'll have to take it off. And then tomorrow at, what time is it, 10:30, I think, we actually meet with the PCC and we start that engagement in the listening tour with everything. So I really appreciate the timeline. And so with that, it's your turn. Again, the prompts were what resonates most, what feels unclear or missing, and what language would you refine. Now, again, we might come to a place where a word changes here, a word changes there, or we'll get pieces of feedback that we'll write down, and then we'll just go with, themes again. So with that, let's start. What group would you like to start first of all your thoughts? And let's go through all 6. Do you want to start first? I'm sorry, I know Beth. What's your name?
This is Liz.
Lacey?
Liz.
If you could just introduce yourself on the microphone for those who might be watching through TV.
My name is Liz Allen.
And I'm Beth Thompson.
And we're parents from Donlin.
We are. I've just got one little girl who's in 1st grade.
And I have two boys at Donlin and one at Hart.
I would say for me, the belief that resonates the most is probably 4. We inspire curiosity and lifelong learning through critical thinking, creativity, responsible use of technology, grounded in human connection. I think that's really important. Nothing really feels like I don't have to refine any of the language, but I would be really interested to know how you're going to implement some of these. Such as belief 2, when you're gutting a lot of the staff that would be involved in that, and belief 3, when trust is so thin on the ground right now.
Yeah, the 2 that I was looking at were belief 2, and I was saying, how is this implemented when diversity training is not offered? And then also belief 4, the responsible use of technology. My kids have access to YouTube on their Chromebooks, and so I try to minimize that access as much as possible at home, and then when they're using their Chromebooks and they say it's school related and then they're able to get onto YouTube, it makes me a little upset. So I think that the responsible use of technology needs to have a little bit more limits.
Okay.
And that's all we've got.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll go clockwise with Ed and Marta.
You can't read my writing, so
I would do it. I can't read her writing.
I have to speak. I was a doctor in another life. Okay, we'll just go through each one then, Maurice. You don't want us to go one belief. I think they did the group, so, okay.
Let's do the whole thing.
Okay. For belief 1, we thought maybe where it says we support all students, that I think we had discussed perhaps saying each student or every student. Just it feels a little more pointed, but it means the same thing. But that was added my feedback there. We liked the language of potentials, the students' potential, their unique strengths and pathways. I really appreciate the fact that we're identifying that every student has gifts. We have to unleash their gifts and help them reach their potential. Belief 2, we thought we liked all the language, especially the emphasis on safe, respectful, inclusive, connection, belonging, well-being. Those are all things that we value and embody in our work. Students and staff being identified here is also good. Belief 3, we thought a high-performing team may need some clarity. What do we mean by a high-performing team? And also the same thing is true for, at the end of that belief 3, across the system. You know, what system are we referencing? We might need to define that a little more clearly. We did like that there's an emphasis on a team and shared responsibility. That's good language for the fact that everybody in the organization is responsible for student success. Belief 4, we liked this language, and we especially appreciate, I think, similar to the group, the first group that went, the intersection of technology and human connection. That's a really important piece that we think we need to be focused on. And again, we kept this high level and not specific to how, because I think right now we're just talking in general about our visions and our beliefs, not the how we're going to implement. That'll come later. Belief 5, we liked innovative, engaging, relevant, inclusive, rigorous, all of it, all the words, and the real world application. And belief 6, developing the whole learner, that was important to us, mentioning equity there, preparing students for college, career, and life. I really like the character, integrity, and I'm a huge fan of the civic responsibility piece, and I know Ed agrees with me. And we also like the fact that we're talking about a partnership with families in the community. That did come up in a recent joint meeting with the city about how we all in this town are responsible for the upbringing of our children and the teaching of our students. There's things that the schools do, and there's things that you need families at home and the community at large to support. So we thought they were generally pretty good. Ed, you want to add anything? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not reflecting back, just moving along, palms up, open ears. So,
all right. Belief 1 and 2, in the spirit of succinctness, no recommended changes. Belief 3, across the system, should just eliminate that. Nobody knows what that means. I'm being direct tonight, sorry. Belief 4, being in an AI company and seeing the speed in which AI is changing, I know you're trying to make a nod to it, but this grounded in human connection just needs to be eliminated.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The addition at the end of technology, use of technology grounded in human connection, you're prejudging AI and it's changing every week. And so, yes, we are in a human-facing business as a district, but I think tying it to technology, and it's unnecessary at this time.
Okay.
In my opinion. And then we both kind of struggled with the term whole learner. I know you changed it from whole child to whole learner, but it still feels like something stuck from the 70s. And I would just recommend we say we develop students by advancing equity and preparing them for college, career, and life. So everything else I was okay with that. That whole learner thing just seems out of date. So I think the last session made me more direct, so I apologize. Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add, Trustee Carrion?
I think overall I really liked the refreshed. I think it's going in the right direction.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess I'll go. I actually do like the idea of number 1 changing all to every, but as a group we were pretty good with 1 and 2. We're completely fine in general with that. 2 lines up better with our policies in ARs, which is how you actually implement these these ideas. For belief, sorry, I'm teaching AP right now, you can tell the test. For belief 3, we thought instead of team, community culture might work better for that, because teams can be kind of siloed. Also, when we are talking with students, we don't always necessarily say you're a team, and so community culture is more inclusive of staff, students, and everyone. Belief number 4, so respectfully, we actually were in the opposite direction. I used to work for NVIDIA for a while too, which is kind of fun. But we thought that the human connection part is important, because without it, that's how you end up with Elon Musk, and that's exactly the opposite of what we want. But also, AI does not create, it takes from what already exists, and so that's why, for example, a lot of artists say AI artist theft. And so I think it's important that responsible use and that human connection have to go together, otherwise there's that lack of STEAM that we talk about, the arts connection of it, the humanities. 5, we thought maybe at the end, because we were looking at this, we're like, but who is it for? Like all of this real, like the whole sentence towards what? And we thought maybe for lifelong learning might be a way of making it aimed at something or a direction. And then belief 6, big fan of civic responsibility, because without civic responsibility, you don't have participation in democracy, and our institutions fail.
Thank you.
Just wanted to interject for belief 1, in addition to the every piece, adding the word multiple in front of pathways just seemed to jive better, that unique strengths and multiple pathways to success.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice job reporting out, Trustee Jones.
Yeah.
Very good. I think we can, I think you emphasized some things that we could go back and definitely manifest into more of a straw plan. So this was great. Does anybody want to say anything else about this? Because I think we got enough, Suzanne, where we can move on. Those were very good. We got multiple recorders in here. So anything else? Anything that you want to riff off of because someone else said something, Beth?
Yeah, we would like to add that we felt the human connection was really, really important, especially as we have young kids. We understand how much technology is going to affect them, and we want them to grow up to be people, good people, not just addicted to their computer screens, not having ChatGPT do all their essays. We want them to learn. We don't want them to just regurgitate.
That's such a theme that's going on right now. So
Maurice, could we add to that? What's the word? Thumbs up.
+1.
+1. Thank you. Your statement about technology and human connection being tied, and we should consider that. And again, technology here is not referring to AI alone. This is your cell phone, every device, everything that keeps the kids locked in. And we are seeing a shift from put a device in every kid's hands to people realizing the danger of that, especially very, very young children. I'm talking even before they enter schools. So we need to monitor screen time. We need to help kids be kids and be humans first. So I really strongly believe in that language.
Thank you. And the value of these beliefs and why we want to hustle with them is because it's not a superintendent of board saying, oh, we got a one-pager and put it on the wall. It's really unpacking them like you're hearing right now and having versions of them that you really put some meat on the bones. And one of the things I wanted to do as a precept is to have this all done by, June 18th, so then we can plan in July for the symposium with all of our leaders, and that for site councils and PTAs and all kinds of different groups. So how do they make meaning out of these very important words?
Yeah, Maurice, one thing I was thinking about, I was reading every item or listed here and then listening to the feedback. This is a question and probably a suggestion too. One is not weighted more than the other, right? So it's kind of like a holistic system or a holistic look at our organization as a school district. So maybe once it's all laid out, maybe not a list, but maybe like a circle or something where it's all interconnected is kind of how I'm envisioning beliefs.
Yes, and we wanted to do a redo on the globe, the whole thing. So maybe we can bring that back. Now, the fact is, the stretch goal was to finish everything, including the directions, by the end of June, and then we were going to work on the relational mapping and the graphics and the like that we talked about. So that's really good input, and that's going to be fun stuff. Now, remember, we're not going to go through the RBG colors and all of it's fine. I mean, we'll just keep the logo. We're going to keep all that stuff. And again, this is just more about positioning ourselves and making sure that we can articulate, really why we're here. And to that point, we're going to now look at the vision and the mission. And it came up last time, and again, this is a framework. You can disagree with it. I have found that working on the beliefs first and then moving into the vision and mission and then doing the directions seems to work, because you roll up all those themes into a crisp vision and then a crisp mission statement. A vision, again, what we aspire to become as a district, more aspirational, future-oriented, and mission is our core purpose in our daily work. And this is where I like to say, when I jump out of bed and I get my boots on, what's my mission? So it's more in the present. So our current vision and mission, vision is every student will be resourceful, resilient, responsible, and engaged world citizen, and our mission is our students will make a better world. Now, we don't know really what the connection is with the beliefs or the goals in the current strategic plan, but at least I got to talk about the methodology of how we came up with the vision and mission based more on the beliefs. So, again, you're going to do the same questions in the same groups, and you have your worksheet, and if you keep trying, like my Freddie Mercury thing here going on, with Queen, just pick up the whole mic and move it. So then we go to, now we go to the same questions, and it's on page 3. Page 3, everybody on this one? Where it says, and on the top there, it's the same prompts. Which options feel most aligned? What language should we carry forward? What feels missing or unclear? And again, take notes. It's going to be a very short presentation. Your notes may help guide your discussion. We're going to do the exact same thing again. Okay, so with the current vision, I read that already. And option A, door number 1, every student belongs and is prepared for college, career, and life, building on their strengths and pathways. Door number 2, option B, a community where every student succeeds, belongs, and contributes. And option C, every student is prepared for college, career, and life, and contributes meaningfully to their community. Now, what in my experience, and I give you an invitation to do this, it's not just these prompts, but you may want to say what worked well in one but didn't work well in another, right? Or what words could be changed, what resonates you, the usual prompts. But you can mix and match with these kinds of things. Vision statements are kind of tricky. How many words should they be? If it's too few words, it starts looking like a tagline. If it's too long, you're not going to be able to really ever think about it and recite it. So let's take 5 minutes, and I'm going to set the timer, and I'll come around and see if you have any questions. Does that work for you? Okay, go. Set the alarm for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Huh? Oh my gosh, how come my timer? Oh, here it is. I like, yeah. Or you go in the back.
No. No, we pay for them. You don't have to check in.
You know who has the best? Yeah, it's really good. How's everyone doing? You need another minute? You good? Okay. Okay, so we're going to, it's still, the recorder's still rolling here. And I got this, got to turn this on, okay. So with that, those were the questions. And then I'm going to go back. Okay, who would like to start first? Okay, we'll go the other way this time.
All right, so I'll report out for our group. So we were looking through these, and like 1 and 3 didn't fully wording-wise feel like a vision statement. So like what we did was we took 2 and we said, a place where every student succeeds, belongs, and contributes, then took the ending of Vision 3 meaningfully to their community.
And what we're going to do is we're not just going to, when we go out for the listening, we're going to give them 3. So we're going to give you combinations of what you came up with that are morphed, and then they'll have 3 different ones. So we don't have to come to agreement tonight.
So can I just acknowledge that we wanted to add to that. We like that, but we just changed a little bit, where every student is given the means and support to succeed, belong, and contribute meaningful to the community.
And is that the whole statement?
Yeah.
Can you say it again?
Yes, where every student is given the means and supports to succeed, belong, and contribute meaningfully to community.
Thank you.
So we just added a little bit to what they said.
Okay. Anything else from either group?
No, she covered that. We'll pause it in the vision and hand it off to, they're still working. You guys still working?
No, we're done.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
So we took a pretty holistic look at the vision statement. kind of looking at the beliefs that we just went over and kind of cheating a little bit, looking at the mission. But the vision for us, hopefully not too surprising for folks, but we actually like the current one.
Oh,
we like the current language. So where we landed was using the first 3-4 words in vision option number 1. So every student belongs and will be a resourceful, resilient, responsible, and engaged world citizen. We like world citizen better than community, because community seems local. And we thought world would be a better kind of like, because our kids literally go anywhere in the world. They're all over the world. So that's kind of
Whether
where we
in
landed.
person or virtually, they are experiencing the world at all times. So for that, we think it's really important to be building global citizens.
Reactions. I'm seeing a lot of heads shake yes on that. Pretty.
I don't want kill the globe.
Kill the globe, save the world.
No, I mean, I've been on vacation. I've run into our students and parents in other countries around the world, and I agree that, like, a lot of our students go around the world, but, like, I don't think that should be our focus.
So the world shouldn't be our focus.
Well,
You're
you
more.
could just X out the word world.
Yeah, I'd rather say engaged citizen and then kill the word world piece. Otherwise,
Okay, so
otherwise I'm going to end up back at my 1970s world.
Watch
image.
it. The 70s were great. So, oh yeah, yacht rock.
So it's interesting, Trustee Brown. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because we said that too. Like, does world connotate 70s a little too much? So we said it too, Trustee Brown. But it's the concept. Maybe we could wordsmith it later, find another word for world.
And yeah,
that's the idea.
And we remember we'll give them options too.
Yeah, exactly.
We are the world.
I still have the Band-Aid music in my head.
We are the people.
We do though. I mean, I want to. Okay. Sometimes here in Pleasanton, and I say this as a resident for many, many years, and my kids went to school here, we can be very inward focused. And it's really important for our students, our staff, and our community to understand the place and the role we play in the world at large. We are interconnected. So I don't want to get away from words like world, because I think it's very easy in this community to say that's not our problem. And I'm speaking from a value standpoint here, and it's not obviously up to me, but I feel pretty strongly that this is an insular community, and calling it a community, it's sort of like our students deserve the best. Well, what about the students around the rest of the world and the country? That kind of language always puts me off. So I prefer something about the larger.
Well, I think maybe a different word.
Like global.
Global.
I run
or
a global team. I spend all day talking to India and Australia.
International.
Universal.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Good discourse.
So we, much like our friends over there, we prefer the current vision.
The what?
We like the current vision. We think it's much better than options A, B, and C. A and C, we really dislike that college is in the vision, because not every child is going to be able to go to college, whether through ability or through financial means. It is out of reach for so many students right now, and it feels disingenuous to put it in there. And we, much like Ms. Graywell, think that a world citizen is really important, especially given that so many of the children here are from immigrant families. It's not just about being a good citizen here, it's about taking that through the world. It's about being present for everything. It's about recognizing that this is a global community anymore, and that isolationism isn't going to work.
Okay. Thank you. Anything? Okay. Any others that, things came up that stimulated your thinking and you wanted to add? Okay, so we got options here. So, very good. Okay, now we're going to look at the mission. Our current mission is our students will make a better world. We ensure, option A is we ensure, ran out of time. Okay, let's go home. Take a little longer?
Do we need a motion to extend the meeting because it's 8:30? Then we're good. I didn't read the end time, so I wanted to make sure.
Okay? All right. So, option A, we ensure high quality, rigorous learning, belonging, and readiness for college, career, and life. B, we challenge, support, and prepare every student for college, career, and life. C, we prepare every student for college, career, and life through engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world learning experiences. Trustee Jones, I wanted to address this because of the word all or every, and I think what we did, we had a big discussion about this, and I think we picked all for when we were in the beliefs, and then when we got to this, is that correct, Suzanne? We picked every. But, I don't know how you want to weigh in on that later, or you can do it now. Let's do it now. What are you thinking about every or all? I've seen this conversation happen a lot. Do you have any? Do you like the fact, or can you feel okay with it all being in the beliefs and every being in the? So we switch it up. Okay. All right. So there you go. You got 5 minutes. The same.
Oh, no, we're done. We're ready to talk. We did
You
both.
are?
We did, yeah.
Oh, you did both.
Did you not? Oh, okay.
That wasn't part of the assignment. That wasn't part of the assignment.
Did you do both of them?
That wasn't part of the assignment.
No. Okay, so why don't we do this? We'll give you guys 3 minutes, and then you can go last so you can think and individually do it. So give them 3 minutes. You got a 3-minute break, and give them 3 minutes. This reflects my facilitator skills because I'm not great on instructions. That I do. Know your strengths. Set the alarm for 2.5 minutes. Good stuff. Okay, there it is. Okay. Let me get my mic. All right, do you want to go first? Your group, we'll go counterclockwise this time.
All right, so we liked mission option 3, but we did some edits to it to make it more inclusive. So we said mission option 3, we prepare every student for multiple pathways through college, career, and life with engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world experiences.
Thank you.
Ours was similar to that. We just changed the word, we added the word or. We prepare every student for college or career and life through engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world learning experiences.
Okay, thank you. Are you ready?
We are. We also liked number 3, and we were struggling with the college, comma, career, and life, because it implies you have to do all 3. So we like what Group A, our first group, our group of 3 came up with. Do you mind rereading it, Trustee Jones?
We prepare every student for multiple pathways through college, career, and life with engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world experiences.
Can I make a counter proposal?
Sure, you may.
So I was saying earlier, well, in the break, since we've finished early, that I spent an entire day with like 25 people at work, and we started out with these really big, long statements, and we kind of narrowed it down. And I was reflecting on what we came up with, and anyway, we prepare our children for life, one student at a time. Right? Something shorter like that.
Ooh, I like that slogan.
Well, I'm riffing off of what we use at our work, which is we bring hospitality to support one person at a time, right? But that sort of something that's a little more succinct, I think. But anyway,
okay.
Over to our public.
We agreed with mission statement number 3, and same thing. We thought that it was not as inclusive using the word college, and so either one. I thought either one.
Yeah, we really liked what Group A had said. It was good.
But I agree with college or career. Also, I think just putting that or in there makes it more inclusive too.
Okay. Did any reactions, thoughts, feelings about what anyone said? Want to build, contrast, Marta?
I think this is the struggle with the college career. We know where the challenge around putting that in there comes from. The thing is, after college, we also expect them to have a career, or maybe not. So I think the or becomes problematic, which is why this multiple pathways, I think, covers more of what we're all trying to say. Just a thought.
Okay.
But I just don't want people to feel like it has to be college. Right? Yeah.
I think the way they said multiple pathways through might help. You could put a college or and well, you can't, because eventually the college has to lead to something, unless you're going to be in college for life, which is not what we're doing.
But I don't know if we need to list. We're spending a lot of time coming up with a list. Like, I'd rather say preparing students for success in life or something to that effect, right? Versus listing out, well, you can do college, or you can do CTE, or you can do, like, I don't know if we need a list, right? Like, our goal is to anyway.
But we want them to be responsible citizens, though, too. We don't want them to be going to jail.
President Brown, can you read yours? Former President Brown. Can you read your statement again, please?
No, I was just.
I want to make a statement, but I need to hear it again.
Okay. Again, like I said, I was just trying to mirror what we did after an entire day of work. And I can't even find my note now. Where did I wrote it? Oh, there we go. We prepare our children for life, one student at a time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you guys were going to share something?
How about we prepare every student through engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world learning experiences? It cuts out the college, career, and life part because that's self-explanatory. But you do want to actually emphasize that you're doing engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world learning experiences, because you can recite all the facts that you like, but if you haven't been taught how to live in the real world, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah. So can you repeat that?
We prepare every student through engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world learning experiences.
Great. And again, Justin, can you read yours? I just want to make sure we get it recorded.
I said we prepare our children for life, one student at a time.
Okay. And Charlie, I think you had one that was really refined.
We prepare every student for multiple pathways through. We prepare
That's it.
This is what happens. We prepare every student for multiple pathways through college, career, and life with engaging learning, strong connections, and real-world experiences.
Excellent. And did you want to repeat one, Ed and Marta, or?
We liked everything you all just said, but I think
that's 3 to wrap up, right? Or are you going to add one? Because I think we got 3 to
we're not going
consolidate.
to add one. We're going to double tap the one you guys just read.
So, Dr. Geisels, there's three top winners that you can consolidate
That's right.
and present back.
That's right. Okay. So with that, we're almost done. And I think you guys done very well, very, very well. So again, we will come back. We're going to do the listening tour. We're going to be working on this. And you know what's nice about this too, it gives us a chance to just to check in with everybody and connect too, especially at what we've all been through this year. And then we'll come back with the strategic directions. I pretty much told you the next steps already. And what's really important to know too is that when we focus and align these, it's really important that they cascade and connect to the local controlled accountability plan and to the site plans. In particular, and there's a lot I learned about hiring. I talked earlier about how much we're really diving into the selection process, is you want to be able to have a match not just for people's skills and experience, but what do they believe. And a lot of times we change our instruments from interviewing techniques to reference checks and the like to see if they're in the spirit that we're in as far as their beliefs and what their mission is. So it's not just, again, a one-pager and a poster on the wall. It is to articulate, codify, and express our who-ness. So it could come across as touchy-groovy, but the organizations that can define what their secret sauce is, what their magic is, why is this place different, they're stronger, they're better, and they're more sustained. So I thank you for this. I was really proud to be a part of this team, and I really want to thank Suzanne and Lanita again, too. So that's it.
Okay, nice job, Dr. Geisels. And thank you for our community for impromptu joining us and participating. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Of course. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last agenda, and it's going to be a very modified, speedy item, like super fast. So the fourth agenda item is basically just discussion report for governance workshop, and we're going to amend it from 30 minutes to 2 minutes. And the reason being is I'm just going to kind of give a little homework thing, reflection, because it really ties in regards to the collaborative work that we've just done with Dr. Geisels. So with that, what I wanted to just state, when you take a look at the governance handbook, just for those who may be watching, the governance handbook was created in actually 2012, and it gets modified. In the last few years, we've been modifying it annually. So there's not a whole lot that I think that we need to modify at this point, because it's going to go in tandem with the modifications with the mission and vision. So when you take a look at the handbook, the modified on page 4 is where the strategic plan and the link to the mission and the vision will be updated, and then page 5 with that beautiful world that Trustee Brown keeps complimenting and highlighting as his favorite graphic, will be modified to something else. So that will be modified significantly after the work done with the strategic process that Dr. Geisels has been leading. What I want to bring to your attention on page 7, there is the Psb board bylaws and the professional governance standards. Those will be modified in regards and putting on the agenda for our next policy meeting in June, just to review any potential updates based upon the work that we're doing. And then obviously on page 8, with this number 2, it says we commit to communicate and support the mission and vision. Those first 2 bullets will be modified. Then I would like to ask if you flip to page 13 for homework, please just take a look at the PSD governance norms. We did review them last year with this current board, but I'd like you to take a look at them and see if there's any bullets that we might want to add or consider. And I did share this electronically to all of you, so you can add electronically any recommendations that you would like to modify. Did you all see that? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Did you already make some potential recommendations? Awesome. So, and then lastly, on page 15, I think that's where I think under the email communication, that amendment, Trustee Walker, do you want to kind of share to the public so they're aware of something that just modified recently with some communications that we're doing with emails that we received from the public?
Yes. Okay. So the way we are currently communicating with the public, that we all receive the email via the board email, and then the vice president now is responding to that specific email commenter and forwarding it to Superintendent Geisels, and then Superintendent Geisels will respond back to that particular community member.
Correct.
And it'll be also blind CC to the board.
So
as
the board,
per the Brown,
so the board knows. Yes.
Yeah, so as per the Brown Act, the responses can't be responded back to the entire board because it will become a violation of the Brown Act. But at times, sometimes trustees may not know what the follow-up action has been taken by staff. So in this way, we're all being informed. So that will be something we will add. And then on page 18, board committees, there's been conversation of adding a talent acquisition committee or ad hoc, something of that sort. So we'll modify that. And then Trustee Caroline, you said you already did some potential comments. I haven't had time to glance. Is there anything you want to share yet? Or
no, the only thing is that what you just mentioned, but then also it says 24 hours to respond. I'm not sure.
We should probably cross that off.
Yeah. It just takes, when we have 100 emails.
Well, we'll do, and we can modify the language into a reasonable, time. We can modify that, but so anyway, my ask is for timing. We want to sync this up for when we come back to the board. So when is this coming back to the board for what we just did? Did you just say it's coming back in June? The first meeting? Microphone.
The 2 meetings in June, so it could come back as a draft in the first meeting, and then the second meeting in June. You
Yeah,
can-
but again, the problem is.
Just that,
Yes,
we're
thank
going to talk about the timing of that. We have some conflicts in June, so I'll talk to you offline about that. But so we'll bring any modifications, because we want to, of course, have it public. So if there's any other edits or modifications, please, I'm going to ask if we could have that by the, I would say, I'm just trying to calculate the timing, probably May 23rd or 24th, something of that timeline. And then I was going to say something else, but yeah, if you have any other recommendations or edits or modifications, please, you can send it through the comments on that Google Doc, and then we'll report it out officially, publicly in that next meeting. Any other comments from my fellow trustees? Okay, so with that, I'm going to open it to public comment. Okay, we will close public comment, and there's no action. And so with that, we are going to adjourn momentarily, but our next board meeting is next Thursday, which is what date? 14th. Okay, sorry.
Next Thursday.
Yes, next board meeting is a regular board meeting, May 14th. I wanted to thank all the trustees and staff and our community members for hanging out tonight. And it was a difficult night, but we did have some good discussions, accomplished a lot. So with that, thank you and good night.
Thank you.